I really have fun with these different effects, and I chose these bubbles, sparkles as a symbol of receiving, right? We're talking about receiving patterns today, and I want to really get specific about this topic because we all exploring our feminine power these days, right? Especially in this group. And many of you who followed me, you know that I teach this concept that we women are the receivers in our relationship with men, right? You've heard this before. If you're new, this is something new to absorb and learn and kind of take it in and see what it means for you. We are the receivers in our relationship with men. Now, it doesn't mean, hi Brooke, it doesn't mean that we never give. That's not what it's about. It means that in order to be giving and in order to be in this beautiful infinity symbol exchange, flow of exchange and of energy, we need to receive first. And whatever we receive, we transform and we multiply. The best example I use is when we receive sperm and then we give life, we give babies. Hi, Karen. And the same can apply to all other areas of our relationship, all our other situations in our relationship with men. This is the dynamics between feminine and masculine. Now, there is also the concept of leading through receiving. We actually, women, are leaders in the area of relationship and intimacy, and we lead through receiving. This is our feminine superpower, and we need to really be very familiar with our receiving patterns, because to a certain extent, women who have done their work on themselves have mastered a certain level of receiving. We've been practicing it. We have started to understand that receiving is as important as giving, because then giving doesn't make sense when the receiver doesn't receive well, right? It just ruins the whole exchange. And that these days, because we want to evolve and grow, we need to understand that we all develop certain patterns of receiving, and sometimes we get stuck there, right? We get good with receiving one thing, right? And then we get terrified or maybe disappointed that we can't receive another thing in a relationship with men. For example, I give you a great example from my own life. Recently, I was really working on releasing old relationships from the past, like 15 years ago, from my past life, past life in a different country. And there were some relationships popping up out of blue, and some of them, dissolving. I let go of them, and there were many of those. And what I became aware of in terms of my relationship with men, when I look back, well, when I was in my 20s, I was an excellent receiver of certain kind of things, that certain energies. So I could receive like admiration, like if men could admire me. I allowed that. I allowed men to admire me, and I was generously receiving that energy. So I always felt admired, right, by men. I received their like flirt when especially when I was single, right? That's our culture as well, like to flirt a lot. Like I was saying, even policemen could flirt with you, so you had to master that to receive that humor, exchange of flirtatious energy. I could receive the compliments. I could receive like gentleman kind of gestures from men, and just like friendship. I could receive male friendship very well. And when I was moving into deeper intimate relationship, right, like developing partnership, this is where at the time I felt kind of stuck, right? And now when I look back after doing all this massive work, working with women and couples and men, right, I understand, wow, so my pattern of receiving was kind of on the dating side or on the friendship side. So as soon as it was like very vulnerable and deep intimacy, I was not available to receive. So there was no way they could give me anything on that level because I was not even available to receive it, right? So it's what I see now, it's like emotional support. I couldn't just like start crying and like revealing how I feel at the time. I would just take care of myself, or I wouldn't receive like I struggled with finances because I felt like everything has to be 50-50, and like I don't want those men, I don't want to depend on them. So I would even attract men who would make less money than me. So definitely was like a block that I created, right? It doesn't mean there were no men who wanted to match my financial power or give me more support or like, whatever. I was not available and I didn't allow, right? It's about allowing to receive. And I didn't receive well, like deeper level of healing intimacy, right? Like sharing something about my past relationship, or like understanding like pleasure. Like that was a huge piece for me that I had to work a lot to be able to receive like pleasure, because I like skydiving better than sex. That was a good sign that I definitely didn't receive enough in sexual intimacy. So, and when I started to really dig deep, I understand there was a lot coming from me, my intimate leadership, my feminine intimate leadership, and not me not allowing and not even knowing how to receive, and not even knowing that receiving pattern, right? So this is something that I developed much later. So this is the question for you today, right? Because we also can take responsibility for what we receive, even this patriarchal kind of setting that, especially now, everything's so polarized and there's like so much anger, and it's totally understandable. But we can take responsibility for what we allow to receive, right? Because we also can say, no, I don't receive that. Like the boundaries of not allowing to receive what you don't want, right? That gives you so much power, by the way, in your relationship. It actually creates a situation when whatever we don't want to receive can just be dissolved, and men will lose their habit to give it to us if we're not available to receive, right? So if they will keep giving us something we don't want, and we set the boundary, no, we're not receiving that, and we show it, and all women show up this way in their power, they will stop giving it to us. Like whatever women experience, they're like abuse, gaslighting, deception, like any of that. It's our power to set up the boundary, consistent boundary, and not allow to receive that as well. So I feel it's a good question to contemplate, especially maybe on this weekend when in America there's a 4th of July weekend. If you want to really enjoy, to be open to receive, observe what are you receiving patterns, and try to expand them, right? Maybe step a little bit of comfort zone. Is like, what if I allow to receive that? What will happen? Just give yourself that internal permission and be open to receive an opportunity, right? You will receive an opportunity first, and when you say yes to this opportunity, you will be able to receive something new, from your man, from whatever, if you're single, you're dating, right? From your collective masculine, from your French male friends. In my work with women, some women are really good receiving friendship from men, and some women are really good receiving like romance, and and some of them can just go with both. Like you can expand your capacity to receive and receive both if you just step a little bit out of your habit, a little bit out of your pattern, expanding your patterns, right? Creating this rich palette of receiving patterns that will really help you with your intimacy, with your relationship, and help you to appreciate men, what they have to give, right? All right, thank you, and have a great weekend.